Hello friends and Gigi from the future. This is how to become a full-time paid actor/actress with zero experience. And I am talking about this from my personal experience as someone that has zero experience with acting, now doing it full-time. So the shoe doesn't always fit, but I'm just gonna tell y'all what I did and the shortcuts I would do differently if I was to start over from day one again. Why am I doing this? Because I don't believe in gatekeeping. And I'll get into a video on that another time. But anywho, so if I was to tell myself day one, hey girl, you want to get into this? This is how you speed run. I would start off with making accounts on every casting website. I wouldn't pay the subscriptions yet, because a lot of them have subscriptions in order to submit, because it's silly where it's just you're paying to audition, which is anywho, I'll get into a rant on that another time. You're going to make accounts on each of the following websites. Backstage, that's my girl, by the way. I'm a backstage demon, that's what they call me. Backstage, Actors Access, maybe casting networks if you're just bored. If you want to get into voice acting, I highly suggest Casting Call Club. And then I know Voice 123 is another one, but I haven't gone into that one yet. I would make accounts on all of them. And when you make an account, you're basically, okay, let's say you have zero portfolio stuff right now. When you make the account, it's basically busy work where you're filling in a bunch of info on how you look. So it's going to be what's your eye color, what's your weight, what's your height. You're going to want to keep it as realistic as possible. Do not change your weight or anything, or your height. I think changing your height for modeling is a good thing, lying about that low key, but we'll get into that another time. Yeah, for this, so you're going to do the busy work on those accounts where it's you're going to put in your weight, you're going to put in your height, what you look like, and then you're going to fill out your skill set. And that's basically oh, I play soccer, I do this sport, I can speak these languages, yada yada yada. And then once you get that done, you basically have your profile set up. Granted, you're probably not going to get casted at this level because you don't have a portfolio. And that brings us to part two. Step number two, I would go and get photos done. Personally, I started off just to get the ball rolling with iPhone pictures. I know people are don't do that, you need to get professional pictures. But at the end of the day, when people or casting directors cast you, they just want to see what you look like, to me, at least in my head. So it's just kind of if you just have a lot of images of yourself in different variations, then it kind of shows them this is what I look like, even if the photos are kind of butthole. And what I mean by different variations is that it is highly suggested to take photos of yourself that look very different. For instance, I have naturally curly hair. This is my hairstyle though. So I took photos of myself with curly hair. I took my pictures with straight hair. I took pictures with my bangs pinned back, which y'all are not going to get to see. And then I don't know, you change your outfits too. For instance, this would be probably edgy. This is the bitch character. Whereas if I put on glasses, I'd be I am the nerd character, and then I would do something different with my hair, hair theory guys. And it's just I'm the preppy now, something like that. It works better if you change. For girls, ladies, I would change my makeup if I was you, TBH. When I took if you want to get casted in a broad amount of things, then I would suggest dressing up and taking photos looking like the characters you want to play. So if you want to play a high school love interest, you're gonna want to wear some clean makeup and dress up in a scrunchie maybe, and look as young as you can. If you're my age, I mean, if you're in high school already, then just be yourself, I would do that. You get your images up. Once you have your images up, I would contemplate paying the subscription at that point if you don't have friends that have cameras. Actually, I wouldn't even do that. Never mind. I would get my phone out. This is actually what I did. Luckily, I have a lot of friends with cameras and a lot of friends that are in the film industry. So it's easy for me to just hop on the ship. But I also used a lot of my self-tape auditions. So what you're gonna do is set up an iPhone. You're gonna get in front of a blank wall, preferably the color blue, but it doesn't matter really, in my opinion. And then you're going to do random scripts, whatever you feel like. I've done things that are 2 lines, and then I would clip it and then put it in iMovie, and then I would put different audition tapes next to each other to be hey, look, this is me doing 2 lines of like a nerdy character, and then I change my outfit. This is me doing 2 lines of a bad girl character, yada yada. And then you have like this 1 minute long, you want to keep it at 1 minute long iMovie trailer, basically. They call it an acting reel of you acting, you know. And so once you have that, you can start submitting to projects. And if, like, for instance, like, let's say you just have the photos, you can start submitting to unpaid projects, and they can record you on sets, and then you can get clips for your little iMovie reel, you know. So I would go about it in that way. Yeah, so you can build your video up that way. Honestly, my video is constantly being rotated. I know people say you should pay for like someone to make your reel, but personally, iMovie has done me just fine. iMovie is my girl, and I'm trying to keep it as cheap as possible. So yeah, and every time I go on set, let's say, okay, so I started off with a bunch of like self-tapes in my bedroom type of thing, where it's like echoing in the walls and like it just looks bad. I submit that, and then people are like, okay, this is what she would look like on camera, most likely, like, you know, we can work with that. I submit that to unpaid projects, and then I get onto the unpaid projects, and they're like, okay, here's like new content of you in front of like an actual camera on an actual set. And I'm like, cool, thanks. I take that footage and then I replace it into my like reel, you know. And then so I'm constantly upgrading each one. So like right now I'm trying to have like a dramatic scene, a comedy scene, a like, I don't know, like different types, because personally I'm just kind of dabbling in everything. I know some people say you should lean into your typecast, but I think it's a like controversial debate going on in the industry. But yeah, so personally, like when I get a better, like for instance, my dramatic scene, let's say when I first started, it was me doing an audition of like, how could you do this to me? And then the next time I ended up on set, it was just like there's a scene of me and someone yelling. I replaced that with the old one. And then once you have a reel of just you on set for the most part, where it looks like super professional in a way, then you can start auditioning for like high paying, you know, roles, or like bigger roles, or submitting, because it's kind of, in a sense, your acting reel is like the credibility. It's your resume, your portfolio, because even though you can, in my opinion, type out everything you've done, seeing how someone will be on a camera is way different than seeing just words on paper. And also, personally, I would lean more into my look, you know. For instance, like if I was a short guy, I would lean into comedy really hard, because I know that's like, I guess a typecast where it's just like you're going to be more likely to get booked and paid higher, because a lot of people need roles like that. Yeah. I guess right now I'm technically like usually casted as like the diversity hire friend, you know, which is totally fine with me. So yeah, and I just lean into that. Like I don't mind the fact that I'm not getting like lead love girl. Like I'm just like, I will be her bitchy best friend that wears the crazy eyeliner type. Step 3 is to maintain consistency. I auditioned every day. Yeah, so I would submit every day to auditions where I just sent pictures of my face to these casting calls on these websites where it's just like, hey, we're looking for a girl with like black hair to play the role of this. And then I send them my picture and I'm like, hey, this is me, let me know. And then they would email me back, usually being like, hey, we like your look, we're just curious if you can act, send over your reel and send over an audition, here's your script. And that's how I go about it. And most of my learning curve has come from being on sets. I do need acting classes, I will say, but luckily, yeah, things have been going pretty fine. But I would also suggest over time getting a agency or a manager. Once you start consistently only booking paid roles, having someone there to kind of stand up for you is a major plus, because I don't know, sometimes people don't take actors seriously. So I would suggest just having someone in your corner to kind of stand up for you and say like, no, this is the criteria and this is why this person has this amount of rates. Because if you're the one pitching yourself, then sometimes people will try and like dog on you, low-key. So I would keep that in mind. And Okay, things to look out for when you first start this whole ordeal. If you tell people that you're new to it and you have zero experience, they will not take you seriously. I learned that the hard way. My first time ever was on my first time on an official, set was for a TV show, and I remember coming in and everyone's just like, when you're on set, people usually ask, like, how long have you been doing this? Like, where are you from and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is my first day. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, who do you train with? And I was like, this is my first day. And they were like, and I thought it was going to be hehe sillies where it's just like, come on guys, but instead it ends up a lot of people, because of how, I guess, competitive the field is, people don't like a silly little response like that. And I learned that a little too late, where people on set started instead trying to tell me how to do my role when I auditioned and got it for a reason, the director clearly liked what I decided to do with the character. So to have people in my ears saying, like, you don't know what you're doing, you should do it like this, how about try this? It's just like, I hope that they were coming from a place of kindness, but it definitely made me really anxious, and it made me look kind of unprofessional in the sense that I didn't know what I was doing, so I kind of fumbled myself on that one. So I wouldn't tell people, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't tell people I was just starting. I would say, like, I've been doing this for a while. I don't know. Another thing I would avoid is agencies that make you pay to be with them. I didn't know that, and I got low-key finessed when I first started, which is fine because I ended up making all the money back, but I found out later on through all my friends that are with agencies, they're like, yeah, no, they will never make you pay for something. They should just be taking out a percentage of how much you get paid. And that's what drives them to try and work with you better, because, they have incentive where it's just like, if you work, they get money. It's T. It shouldn't be, I don't get work and you're getting paid. Learn that the hard way. And then I guess another thing I would be on the lookout for is the type of directors and the type of roles. Like, personally, I don't like doing intimacy scenes, and I don't really I will not get naked for the camera. But I've heard of some freaky directors and stuff asking people on set, like actresses and stuff, to be like, okay, we don't like that outfit, how about you just take it off? Or it's just like the roles that they would write are kind of weird, where they're like, hey, yeah, I don't know, I guess just be a little weary, because if you walk into a room and there's just a camcorder, they're like, okay girl, ready for your scene, it's just you and this one guy, yeah, bring a friend to set. Yeah, bring a friend to set, and if you are under the age of 18, bring your parent. Always bring your parent. Stay safe out there. Genuinely though, because some people out here, I've noticed, they will try and prey on the people that don't know what they're doing. So if you're like me and you have no experience, don't let people know you don't know what you're doing. I now have experience, but being out there, yeah, because some people are like, there was one time where I went for an audition and they were like, do you have fight experience? And I was just like, I do, technically, because I do fight tournaments and stuff with jiu-jitsu and MMA and whatever. And he was just like, cool, but what about stunt training? And I was like, oh no, but I'm quick to learn, type and he was just like, okay, cool, after this audition, I just want to see what you can do. Tell me why. I was like, okay, let's go. And then we were in his gym and he's like, yeah, shawty, ha ha ha. Yeah, so be a little weary. Even yesterday on set, this director was like, hey girl, you did amazing, let me, are you walking to your car? We're in Atlanta. And I was just like, yeah, don't worry about it. And he was like, no, let me walk you, someone should be with you at all times. And on the walk to the car, he was like, hey mamas, you are I want you. And I'm like, I'm alone walking to my car right now, and you were supposed to save me from that type of person, and you're that person, you are them. So, be weary of the freaky deakies. Do not let them know how long you've been in this ish, because they will try and prey on you if you are any type of naive or not knowing. Because some people come in, I feel like I'm one of those people that came in and I was just like, I'm so excited to work, and then they're just like, yeah, you're coming with me. It's scary. Luckily, like, nothing bad has happened to me, but like I have heard some like freaky deaky stories. I think people know better than to test me because I'm silly, but like I'm also insane. I'm silly but crazy. So it's like but yeah, and I guess that's how I would go about it. And also, okay, yeah, and I guess the final thing is the more you audition for, the more likely the probability of you getting roles. And not to be like business oriented brain, but I guess like hopefully my college-ish will like work for something, because I was like a business major until I switched over. But sorry, I'm crazy. So yeah, probability works in the sense that, like, you know, let's say you're like one of those people that knock on every door. If you knock on 100 doors, one of them is bound to open, you know. So if you audition for 100 things, one of them is bound to call back and be like, you got the role, you know. So I would just suggest, what I used to do is like doom scroll audition, submit all the time. Yeah, I used to like on the toilet submit to probably 25 auditions a day. And then now I currently try and do that paired with like submitting like 10 auditions of voice acting a night, because voice acting is pretty simple in the sense that I get to read the script, because like memorizing a script for an audition is a lot of work, like a non-voice acting one. But yeah, I think that's all I would suggest. Sorry if that was all over the place. My brain is pretty squiggly right now, but yeah, that's the tea. Hopefully I post this video, I don't know. But anywho, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll go through and try to like answer those, maybe make some videos about it. But yeah, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.